So the first one, boss, will hit you straight between the eye. Get it? Hits you straight between the eye. What do you like most about being Catholic?
That's the power within. I like the rules. I like, as a karate, like I'm the chairman of a karate organization, full contact karate organization. And the difference when you see these fighters, they have, the rituals that you go through are all the same, and there's a lot of respect, and there's nobody shouting at each other. And if they're shouting at each other, they always bow at the very end, the respect. And I think that with the Catholic standards are all like in line. And if you do it the way you're supposed to do it, because that's the thing, then you're going to feel really good. It's the people who start doing, like I have a cousin of mine, he does the rosary. Yeah, I'll do it different because I go, no, there's a way to do it and there's not a way to do it. You're doing another way to do it. Do it like it's supposed to be. It's like going to a mass and they don't kneel where they have to kneel, or like, that it makes no sense to me. I think you have stick with the principles, and that's what I like, because I'm a guy who needs, what I already said, a lot of habits, because my mind is really crazy. And if I have just my habits, then I can sail through life. And as a Catholic, well, everything becomes a habit now. It's very hard. Every action I make, I'm probably think about it, And I do an examination of conscience every night before I go to sleep. You go over the day. What did you do right? What did you do wrong? What can you do better? How can you make it better what you made good? How can you make sure that you never do the bad thing anymore? What are things that you didn't do but you should have done? And once you call that up in your mind, the next time it happens, at least you can deal with it. So it's a good thing. And I say for atheists, for everybody, just go over your day, and just see what you have done and see if you can make it better the next day. And that helps, and that comes all from the Catholic principles. That's why I like it.
I promised Jeff I would get to this question. When you were talking about BAM, be a man to help us to endure the temptation and respond to from inappropriateness, you stated something that sounded to be more a memorized phrase that defines a man of strength and what defines weakness. Could you state that again, please?
Yeah. So I want to be a man who's in control of his weaknesses, vices, and imperfections. A man who's not a slave to his passions, emotions, and desires, but a real man who's in control of himself, which is a very hard thing to do right now in the world. Everything is screaming. That's why these phones, there's a book called Stolen Focus by Johan Hari. Read that book, because it's not only talking about all the algorithms that I have on a phone, but there's a lot of other factors that try to distract us. Why do you think you go to Amazon, you can have one click you can buy? Because 2 clicks already can steer somebody away. Our attention span is gone, and we need it back. Put down the freaking phone, Like in the morning, my phone goes on at 9:30. At 9:30, I already did a cold plunge, I worked out, I walked the dog, I went to church. And then I'm home at 8:45. And then at 9:30, it's where my telephone goes, because if I'm praying with my mind, ADD, and there's a message coming in, I'm distracted. So turn everything off. And tell yourself, okay, my prayers, let's say they're going to cost me 30 minutes or 35, make it 45, so you don't rush it. And turn everything off, and then just focus on that. It's such a big difference, if you do it like that, then to wrap them out. I says, help me, the full Christ, I said, don't do a rosary like that, then don't do it, The lukewarm, that's what I always think about, Revelation 3:16. You're either hot or cold. Everything in between, you're the lukewarm, and the Lord will vomit you out of his mouth. Let's not be lukewarm, right? That's what I mean. If you want to do something, why don't you do it like you're supposed to do? It's so simple to me, but apparently it's not to a lot of people. They water things down, you see, because he understands. He doesn't understand. He understands we're weak. We need to man up. Stop being a pussy, see? Pusillanimous. And by the way, I said I made an abbreviation of the word pusillanimous. I go, why is abbreviation such a long word? So people got it. Good.
And some did want you to elaborate and explain what pussy meant.
Well, it's the guy who's in control of himself is the man. Like we are so brainwashed that we believe that if we can drink and we can do everything we want, that we're free. He gives us the freedom. You're not. You're a slave to all your passions, all your vices. If you cut free from those, you're completely free. If you want to wake up in the morning shaking, you need a glass of alcohol, you're a slave to alcohol. That's what the Bible says. That got me. I go, I'm a slave? I'm not a slave to anything. Well, I am. Apparently, it doesn't even have to talk to me. Just being in the same room and I would like to drink it. Ooh, I can't stand that. So I thought that if I stop, and if I win the last battle, I don't drink anymore, I'm going to win. You know, and with me, I wake up in the morning, let's say, today I don't drink. I'm just an example, because I don't get drunk. And for me, if I say I don't drink, even if I would drink a half a glass of wine that day, I feel ashamed because I didn't do what I said I was going to do. The first person, physical person, not half divine and not Jesus, the first person in the world that you should never lie to is yourself. Because the more you say no, or the more you say yes, the weaker you get. You remember what I said? The more you say no, the stronger you get. Like I was an alcoholic, so, and you still are, right? You never lose it. If I would wake up in the morning, if I said it 300 times, that's not even a high number. Today I'm not going to drink. At 4 o'clock you take a drink. Today I'm not going to drink. Next day, 4 o'clock you take a drink. Every time. And the more I say, the more I break my promise, the weaker I'm getting. And that's every vice out there works like that. I mean, everything you get used to. I give you this example. Like I was doing a lot of burglaries when I was a kid. Like when I was 15, I got caught for like 142 burglaries. You know, and I remember the very first time, because I get no attention. So if I can't get a positive, I'm going to get it negatively. So that was my mind, I guess. But I remember the very first time we were breaking into a school, and I get the absent cards, you know, because they were worth a lot of money, because if you have the clean one, well, you know, you could get kicked out of class a few times. I could sell these cards to the students. But if we would I say, hey man, can you do this? This is the first time you break somewhere and you're very nervous. The fifth time, I'm there. Yo, hey, come over here. It becomes normal. You're so afraid the first time, but you do it a few times, it becomes normal. And that's with bad things. You see, so you go like, how can somebody go from a peeping Tom going to raping a girl? Well, it goes over time, slowly but surely. And once it's made, that becomes normal for them. And that's a very scary thing, because then they don't even think about it. But that's why, you know, with the Protestants, I don't believe that you can say, oh, sorry, Jesus, I won't do it anymore. And then you do it again. I think you have to confess. Actually, there's a verse for that, right? For every high priest chosen from among men is there to act upon man in relation to God, to offer gifts and sacrifices for sins. It's in the Bible. They say you have to not confess to a person. Well, it says it right there. For every high priest chosen from among men is there to interact for you. You have to talk to him. So it is. You have to talk to a person. And talking to a person or sitting in the car after, let's say, you killed somebody, you go, okay, Jesus, I won't do it anymore. Do it in front of a priest. I can tell you my first confession, because I never confessed anything, and I was already Catholic. It's not going to wipe my slate clean. I went to a 2 hour and 20 minutes. I was sweating bullets, and I had a whole game plan. You know, I had like a light sin, a heavy sin. I pulled back to a light one. You know, I had this whole playbook that I was going to do, and it was freaking scary. I had 13 pages of Word document typed out of sins that I did. And then probably forgot a lot because I had a crazy life. You see, but doing that is a very hard thing to do in front of a person. And the priest, you know, when they say, oh, but they can't, because they're not married, they won't understand marital problems. They will understand the best, because they're not siding with anybody. They just know the principles. And that's why it's so good to go to a priest and to confess. You know, it's hard, and it needs to be hard, because if it's not hard, if you just say, hey, sorry, I won't do it anymore, if you do that 5 times, it doesn't mean anything anymore. Or going to the same priest doing the same sin, and say it again, like I said with my alcohol, I don't want to do that, because I already confessed that a bunch of times to him. I don't want to do it. And I'm not a PUC going to a different priest. No, don't do that. Yeah, he already heard that story. You know, I'm going to go to that guy. That guy actually doesn't speak English. He's a Latin. Let's go to him. You know, come on, let's go in Rome, you know, and then, come on, guys. Pick the same priest so he knows, and that will put you in check. And I remember when I got caught for these burglaries, I mean, I was driving on the street. If I saw a cop, I think, oh, they're going to get me. They're going to get me. And once you confessed, there's a weight falling off your shoulders. And it was actually funny because with Kevin James, he told me to call him right away if I came out of my confession. And I go, dude, I'm feeling great. He says, yeah, you're breathing free air right now. He said, that's the thing. I said, you won't believe this. What happened? He says, what? I said, When I walked in, it was clear sky, not a cloud in the sky. And when I came out, it was raining. He's washing away my sins. And he goes, no, 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 no. I go, what? He goes, you made God cry, dude. But that's Kevin.
We are 10 days from Halloween. Your comments and story about the apparitions caught the attention of a number of men. They'd like to know what, if anything, you're scared of.
Oh, I'm just scared for something happens to the family, something that you can't control, somebody getting sick, that's what I'm scared for. Like a man-on-man thing, I have a high chance of winning, not with weapons, but that's not really troubling. It's those kind of things. It's scared of leaving this planet before I cleaned myself up, because I had a friend that was funny. I was talking about, he said, oh, I'm going to do this too now. I'm going to go back to the church. I said, oh, great. I said, I'm going to Mass tomorrow at noon. And he goes, no, I'm going to do that like when I'm 70 or something, because otherwise I can't do all the other things anymore. And I go, dude, can you tell me? He goes, what? Can you tell me when I die? He goes, what do you mean? I said, well, apparently you know when you're going to die. Because from my understanding, I can get a heart attack right now or walk outstairs and the car comes to me and it kills me. And if I didn't get my stuff in order, that's going to be a problem. And he looks at me, I go, that's what I mean, dude. Get your stuff in order now. Because you don't know what's going to happen in an hour. That's why you got to always be on your toes. And I'm hoping, and the things I do are little things, like an annoying thing. I don't say, like I walked into a gym one time at a hotel when I was training, and this guy walks in, he's an older dude, and he looked good. And he says to me, man, you're looking freaking good in shape, and how old are you? And I say, thank you, but I'm really weird. It's really weird. I'm a little introvert. But once I come over the hump, then I just go. And then it bothered me that I didn't say to him, well, speak for yourself, dude. Look at you look. You look great too. I didn't do that. And that bothers me. See, so then I go at night with the examination of conscience. What were the things that I didn't do I should have done? Well, that was one of these things. And that can still haunt me. That's nothing. It's a little tiny thing. So I try to be as perfect as I can, which is a very hard thing to do right now.
You're the father of 3 daughters, one married, one engaged, and you're the grandfather of a 7-year-old son. What can we do to engage and help youth to become more involved in their Catholic faith?
I think for me it was just a changing. My wife thought it was going to be like a short thing, and then she saw the changes. Suddenly said there was no more drinking, no more going out. I started including the family more. You were so selfish if you feed your own pleasures the whole time, because you forget about everybody else around you, because it's more important you get drunk, you do this, you. And once I realized that, I just became way more involved, and then she saw the change. So my oldest daughter right away got baptized, and she said, because what's the Francis of Assisi who said, don't tell me, show me? It was him, right? I believe that he said it, yeah. And that's it. You don't say anything to people, they will see the change. Like my friends say, oh, you didn't change a lot. I don't hear you swear anymore. I go, yeah, because I was never a bad guy. I've never beat up people who didn't deserve it. That's the thing, see? I try to, if they deserve it, yeah, I was going to do it really well. But that's also, again, now I feel that that's, you have to, you got the wolves, you got the sheep and the sheepdogs, right? And I consider myself now a sheepdog. Who's there to protect the sheep from the wolves. So, and I think every guy should be like that. We were talking about it. If you don't have the fighting experience, get a weapon. It's the Bible says, if you don't have a sword, sell your mantle and buy one. Why do you think he says that? It's because you have to protect your family as a man of the house. So if you don't have the physicality to do it, well, just get a weapon, make sure. Because, listen, the bad guys have weapons. That's it. And as long as they have weapons, I will have weapons. Because I'm not going to give them the upper hand. They come in my house, it's going to be a problem. For them. Because they know everything is, and I can lock everything that they can't get out. Oh yeah, once you're in, you're in. I can't take all my time.
Do you have a favorite passage or a favorite element of the Gospels in the Scripture?
First one that got me the most is the Matthew 7, 1-5, and especially the last one. Why do you care about the splinter in your brother's eye, while you have a wooden beam stuck in your own eye? You hypocrite. Get rid of the wooden beam first so you can see clearly, and then you can take care of the splinter out of your brother's eye. And that was the trap I fell in right away when I came back to the faith, because now I was telling people, oh no, you should live like this. This is the guy I've been freaking sinning my entire life. I'm like 6 months back in the faith, and now I'm going to tell you how to live your life? How stupid, you see? But that's pride. Suddenly you think, oh, everybody should live like me because I'm feeling alive and I'm doing good. It's a trap you're falling in. You have to really watch out with that. Stop judging. You know, it's a hard one to stop judging. And especially as a kid, if you've been bullied over and over again, you know, you want them back, you know, so, but you have to. Vengeance will be mine, is what he said. We're not going to see it here. Like with these pedophile rings that I saw with Jim Caviezel, he's come here. I met Jim. He lived in the town where I used to live. I saw that movie 4 years ago when they made it, because Leo Severino, the leaf fell from the tree, that guy, he's one of the producers on that movie. Freedom, Sound of Freedom. You see, but it's... People need to do something. We need to do something about it. And we can't hide and cower away and think, oh, it's not real. It is real. There's people who drink blood. There's people who scare the crap out of kids and then take their blood because the adrenaline does something, and they use that. And you go, that's bullcrap. Yeah. You remember when they said there was an island where rich guys would come and they had their way with kids? I was laughing, everybody was laughing. Well, it's true. All that stuff that you don't think is true, is true. Go level 33. Go level 33 about the Freemasons. See what that is. Level 32 people don't even know it sometimes. Level 33, you have to stomp on the Bible. You have to disown Jesus, everything. They won't say that before. That's Satanism. And you can find these Bibles that they have online. So you can see this is really happening. I mean, torturing kids. Like this guy who said to me, oh, you Catholic talk, ooh, yuck, you know? Okay, of course, talking about the pedophile priest. I just check him out. He has a tattoo of Baphomet on his back. And he's got 3 daughters. I go, do you know what you're inviting in your home? He's the demon of child sacrifice. Yes, okay, it happened. 1.7% is what the Protestants say. It's 1.9% is what the Vatican said with the priest. Right, it happened. That's 1.9% too much, don't get me wrong. But with them, it needs to be 100%. You need to torture, you need to rape. You know, there's people, this is the most sick thing that you hear. You know that in order to be part of the band, if you have a daughter, I rape your daughter, you rape my daughter. This way we cannot talk about each other. Think about how sick that is. And this is real. You can literally Google this. Don't put the blinders up and don't think it's real. It is. You know, and that's a scary thing. We all think it's like, what lie do we know most about the devil? The best lie they ever used is making the world believe that he doesn't exist. Well, that's literally it. We think, oh, it's all not true. It is true. I mean, you should hear the stories from Father Ripperger. It's an exorcist I know. There's some wild stuff out there. People floating against the ceiling. And I heard that from more exorcists. I heard about a friend of mine, Jesse Romero, is also a public speaker. He got thrown up by like this 80-pound, 85-year-old Mexican lady who came in on a stroller. And they put her in front of the Blessed Sacrament. She puffed up, stood up, grabbed him, threw the priest, 245-pound priest. His wife was there, because there needs to be a woman by the exorcism. And she was laughing because she said he was flying through the air like this. I mean, this is real stuff. When I told the exorcist, is that true when their faces changes? He goes, that's 90% of the time. I go, whoa, what? That's normal. Yeah, that's normal. So there's some scary stuff out there. And I believe it because I've been attacked by it. It was something I couldn't do anything against. And it freaked me out because there was no answer. I was lucky that I was alive because I couldn't breathe. If your chest can't expand, you can't breathe. You know, and there's that moment that you go, shit, this is going to go wrong. I'm going to die. You know, and if that happens a bunch of times, it's freaky. And those people really roam the earth. So get ready for that.
If people go out to your YouTube site, one of the things that impressed me is when you're in your backyard, I thought you were using like a TheraBand to stretch. And then the text appeared at the bottom and it said, notice the rosary. Can you talk about, because we've had Jesse Romero as one of our speakers before, and you really stress the importance of prayer. You incorporate the rosary into your flexibility training. Could you tell the men how they might be able to do that?
Yeah, I always like to hit 2 birds with 1 stone. And for me, my mind, ADD, it's very good if I do one other thing. And then like if I have to memorize lines for a movie, if I sit down, I can't memorize. If I walk through the forest, I have to watch out where I step, then somehow it works much better on me because there's one distraction which shuts down all the other noise, and then I can focus on the talk. So with the stretching, well, it's painful and it's every day. And depending on what language you do it, like if in Latin it takes 19 minutes and in English it's 15 minutes, I just do stretches, and I stretch every day because I do a rosary every day. I started doing a rosary in May 2015. They told me to start doing it. And I never missed one. See, that's my habit. I build a habit, I won't miss it. My evening prayers, won't miss it. But you never won't miss it. It's just simply not happening. I won't allow it. Because if you miss one time, it becomes easier to miss it the second time. And there you fall in the trap again. And then it starts. If you just stick with your if there's a good habit, don't lose that habit. And if there's a bad habit, flip the habit. Like I talk to these kids who go from middle school to high school. And the first question I always ask, I say, okay, who woke up this morning by show of hands from the alarm clock, hit the snooze button, 10 minutes later, hit the snooze button, 10 minutes later, I did that for like 5-6 times. And you'll be in shock. 90% of the hands go up. I go, that's the dumbest habit there is. Because the last hour you don't sleep anymore. It's up and down, up and down. You don't really sleep. I said, smart thing would do to set your alarm 1 hour later and to tell yourself before you go to sleep tomorrow when the alarm goes, I sit up in bed, I walk out. And sure, that's hard the first day, second day, third day. After a week, it's normal. 2 weeks in, now you don't know any better. I don't even set an alarm. I wake up on the time that it is there. You see, you can flip those, but you have to change a bad habit into a good habit. Don't try to distinguish the good habit and of the bad habit and then put a good habit in place for it. Work with the bad one you have and change that into a good one. That's the way to really do it. Actually, I got that book from the world's greatest salesman, from Oak Medino. It takes 10 months to read that book because you have to do there's a chapter that you have to do for a month every day. You have to read it in the morning, first thing, in the middle of the day, and then before you go to sleep. But you realize that after 2 weeks, you memorize the whole thing. It's just like a 5-minute talk, you know, and then it starts transforming your mind. It's actually really good. And I'll guarantee you he's a Christian because he talks a lot about faith.
We're going to pose the other questions to you, Bas, for you to answer, and we'll share that with the men. But a couple of individuals have said they would love your message to be out in front of youth, and whether it's public schools or parochial schools. Some have said, is there a place that if they wish to donate to help get your word out, get your message out to youth or to other individuals, is that from your website, from your YouTube page? Are there places where people can help you advance your message?
No, I don't have anything up for money or something. If I would do that, then, well, I'll make sure 100% will go to there. I would never want to steal anything away from that. By the way, that fight that you just saw, I was emotional in that fight. That's a fight I use to my fighters to say, don't fight with emotions, because they really tried to screw me over, and I found out the day before the fight, and I lost complete control there. I knocked them out, but it was an ugly fight. You see me hitting like I have no technique whatsoever. This one. Yeah, I win, but it wasn't pretty. But that's emotional, you see? And that's, again, I want to be a guy who's in control of his emotions as well. Because this is a fighting where the people don't seem to get, you know. They think it's aggression and it's violence. It's not violence. For me to shoot hoops with Kobe Bryant is exactly the same feeling as me sparring my friend or anybody from the thing. There is no animosity. Violence is when one of the two doesn't want to fight. That's violence. Well, if you both sign up and you do it in order to make money and do it in order so you can support your family, what's the violence in that? I don't see the violence. I see violence in how they treat animals, you know, horse races and all that stuff, all the things behind door. You don't know what they do to these horses to make them run faster. I think that's violence. That won't happen with us. So it's all about the projection. But you put the guy, oh, you fight cage fighting. Cage, oh, you put an animal in the cage. You put prisoners in the cage, you know, and then there's a little cut, tiny cut, a superficial cut, and it pumps out blood because your heart rate is going 150. It looks really bad. They wipe the face off, and then you see a little tiny cut, you know. And then if you break things down, MMA is way safer than boxing. I mean, even bare knuckle boxing officially is way safer than MMA. People go like, you know, they don't believe it. But it is, because the hand will break on a skull. So the real bare knuckle boxers, they go for the body 90% and light to the head, because otherwise they might break their hand. Why do you think they invented the boxing glove? It's not to protect the head. They invented it to protect the hand, because people were breaking their hands and they couldn't defend their title. So we got to come up with something. Let's put a boxing glove on. Now they can hit as hard as they want. That's dangerous. And in boxing, there's an 8 count. Well, if you get downed, that's your body telling you, I want to stop. You don't have that rule in MMA. In MMA, you get dizzy, the referee jumps in, fight's over. Because that's when you're going to get the real damage. In MMA, it's even so. If I'm sitting on top of somebody and I start raining down punches, even if he blocks every punch, the referee, if he doesn't improve himself to a better position, will pull you off before a punch is going to come through. Because he knows eventually it's going to happen. So if he doesn't improve himself better, in a better position, they're going to stop the fight. And the fighters know this before, so once you understand the rules, it's really not as violent as you think it is. And like I said, it's the same for us as shooting hoops with somebody. There is no violence. You want to stay far away from violence because otherwise you're going to fight like you just said, that I just did, which is not good, it's uncontrolled.
Boss, on the count of 3, I'm going to ask the men to shout out BAM
Thank
together
you,
as our way of saying thank you, and then we're going to transition on. So guys, let's give it up for Boss. 1, 2, 3. BAM!
That's right. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Hey, hey,